Welcome to Meet Me in the City, a podcast exploring music through the boroughs of America. Joined, as always, by my two good friends, Shawn and Dan. Boys, how we doing?
Doing good.
Good?
I'm doing really good.
And you?
Really good. I'm good, yeah. It's a nice day out. We're here in the middle of November. It's about 60 degrees out. We're in Columbus, Ohio.
Whoa.
OH.
Ohio.
Nice.
Yeah, indeed. It's our first time. I mean, we've recorded out of Dayton,
Springfield.
Buck Creek. we made it all
Real far
we
out
made
there.
it all the way to Springfield, and then we're like, yeah, I think we're done here.
Good.
But we are on location in Columbus today, and we reached out to an old friend, a guy who's been around Dayton and the Dayton music scene for decades.
Yeah, something like that.
Decades. Please welcome to the show, Kyle Melton. Kyle, how you doing?
Doing all right today.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm not sitting away from you because I don't want to be close to you. I'm trying to block the sun.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
the sun is. Yeah.
Can you stand up and
Yeah.
stretch your...
I'm big, but I'm not that big.
For reference, the sun is hitting directly in my eye at a 45-degree angle. It's gonna be peak right through the conversation.
It's a beautiful space. We're in the Gehanna Library, which is feels like it's a brand new facility.
Yeah, within the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle set this up for us. They have these little rooms that are in place. So thanks to the library, it's part of the Columbus Public Library
Yes.
system. Yep.
Yes.
Appreciate them letting us come in here and record.
Yeah.
Kyle, let's get started. We just want to hear about your life in music and how you got going. So where are you from?
All right, I'm from Miamisburg, Ohio.
Okay.
You
born-
are from Miami.
Yeah,
Hey, Dan.
see, that's
Hey, Dan.
that's what I was like, Miamisburg. Yeah. I'm actually born in Indiana. Don't remember it. Moved back to Dayton when I was like 9 months old. So
Okay.
my life's in Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to school at Miamisburg High School, all that.
What elementary school did you get to?
I went to Levita M. Bauer Elementary School
Nice.
on 741 there. Yeah, then went to the middle schools there downtown. So it was really weird, old buildings and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
new stuff. And the high school was fairly modern at the time I went. So
So you went to Wance?
I went to Wance.
And
yeah,
Neff?
yeah. My grandmother went to Wance.
Oh,
really?
That's
Wow.
Little Miamisburg inside baseball
There
for
you go.
everybody that wasn't looking for that.
yeah, super inside baseball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
but I grew up. See, like Miamisburg is a pretty big place, so like the schools and all that, high school and all that's sort of down more toward the river and all that. But I grew up toward the Dayton Mall,
Okay.
so
okay.
fairly removed from whatever Miamisburg was, leaning more toward Centerville, but very suburban. You know, boring, nothing to do. And I didn't get my license when I was 16. So growing up, there was, unless somebody drove me around, I didn't do anything.
There you go.
So, watched a lot of MTV, listened to a lot of Z93 growing up, pop radio and all that. So I was a kid of the 80s, you know. So.
I don't know if you know, since you don't live in Dayton anymore, but Z93 has made a comeback. Did you know that?
I have been made aware of this. It is important to me.
It is.
I have heard, don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it you don't have to call it a comeback.
I've been
'cause
here
they're
for
back.
years.
It's back. Yeah.
It's back,
I mean,
baby.
anybody who grew up in and around the Dayton area in the
yeah.
80s, 90s, Z93 was, I
It.
mean, that's where top 40 was played.
Yeah, that's top 40 until you graduated to TUE.
Yes.
Right.
Then
True.
and then you were a grown man.
Yeah.
And then you're like lurking around 97X.
Yeah.
What is
Right.
that out there? I can barely
Yeah.
get it.
1039 too, the Edge or the
Ooh, yeah.
X.
Yeah, that came along later.
That was
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
But like 97X was around, but where I lived, I could not pick up 97X.
Oh, really?
It was hard.
So even that flew by me. I didn't know
Kids
anything
today
about
don't understand that.
Oh,
it.
man.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. I mean,
There was no streaming.
unless you're out driving around with a friend who knows how to pick it up, you
Right.
can't get it, you know. So none of that really, I didn't have any of that growing up.
Yeah.
You know, like 97X kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So all I had was like mainstream pop,
Mm-hmm.
rock, MTV, that kind of stuff.
What when did you catch the music bug?
Oh, as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
Did your family have music in the house?
We had music in the house, but not great music. I mean, by my opinion now, you know, like my parents like soft rock. Like my dad loved Carly Simon, and but we like Pat Benatar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's good music.
Dan likes little Carly Simon.
I love some Carly Simon.
Yeah, I mean,
You're so vain.
yeah, I mean, it's an all timer, you know. But I mean, rock and roll, like I didn't get Beatles or Stones or any of that from my family. But like the first real thing I was obsessed with, my cousin brought Men at Work, Business as Usual up.
Nice.
And I made a cassette dub of that, like on a Kmart cassette.
Yeah.
But I did all, you know, like put stickers on and colored it like the album artwork as close as an 8-year-old could. But I was like obsessed with that album as a kid. So that, I mean, as early as that, I was like,
That's
okay.
probably what, 83?
83, 82, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so always wanted to, you know, like, oh, you know, I would love to do music. And then of all things, movie, you guys remember HBO was kind of terrible growing up?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the movie Eddie and the Cruisers?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I love that, dude.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure that's the real point at which I said, I have to do music.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking about that movie the other
That's a
day,
great
and I was
movie.
trying to, what was the big song?
Oh gosh.
On the dark
You got
side.
me-
On the dark
side.
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Because was that like loosely on The Boss?
I don't know.
No, not
No,
really.
it's not.
I think it was one of the
I think-
first fake rock documentaries.
yeah.
You know, well, yeah, it's Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spinal
but see, I
Tap.
was 8 years old, so I just thought there was a band called Eddie and the Cruisers,
Yeah.
and this was the movie about them because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I said, "This is brilliant," you know. So you know,
8-year-old Kyle.
Yeah.
This is amazing cinema right here.
Yeah.
It's time to start a band,
There you
kids.
go.
So that's what kind of like, I need to do this.
Yeah, I mean, so that was that was a seed, and then always kind of dabbling with music or interested in music, always super obsessed with radio and MTV and all that kind of stuff. When I was 14, we went on a church mission trip to somewhere in the hills of West Virginia. Don't ask me where. And the first night, you know, I was like 13, 14, but the older kids all snuck down to the basement of the church. I'm like, oh, what are they doing? And me and my friend snuck over, and they had Sgt. Pepper cassette on playing.
Oh, really?
And it sounded kind of familiar, like maybe I'd heard one of the songs on somewhere, but I was like, oh, I got to have this.
Yeah.
So I, you know, got home and got that cassette and just obsessed over that. And then you get into Beatles and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And it took 2 or 3 years of, you know, okay, slowly I got a guitar when I was 14, didn't know how to tune it for a year. You know, so mess around with that. And I'd somehow bought a electric guitar that had a built-in speaker in it.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
And a whammy bar. So at 14, 15 years old, not knowing anything, I'm like, this is great fun, you know. And saw the clip of the Kinks talking about, oh, I split this, you know, the way I got that sound on whichever track it was, you know, you slit the speaker with a razor blade. I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you can do that to a 12-inch speaker. You can't really do it to a 1.5-inch speaker and get much. So, you know, blew that up. You know, and didn't have an amp or anything. So just kind of kept playing around. And then, you know, my uncle got me a chord book for Christmas the next year. Okay, now I can start playing a few chords. But the guitar I had was a 40s harmony guitar that my grandfather got me.
Oh,
I still
wow.
have it. It's a great sounding guitar. But the action on it, I mean, it must have been like ½ inch. And I didn't, you know, he didn't know anything about it. He barely played.
Just killing those teenage fingers.
I mean, I was like, I guess you have to play till your fingers bleed. There's a whole song. There's songs about this. This is how you have to do it. Oh, it was brutal. You know, you can't changing chords and all this stuff. Absolutely savage. But I was hell bent this was happening.
Yeah.
You know, like probably for the first time in my life was like really willing to do the work to get to the cool point.
Yes.
And so I just kept playing and playing and playing. I went up to visit my family in Sydney, Ohio, and then we had a family reunion. And these people, see, I know.
Dan's.
Yeah. My
Dad
family's
listens
from
to-
Sydney.
Okay, well, we'll
Man,
have
you
that.
guys have this
Yeah.
Yeah.
parallel
Yeah.
universe.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any shades in your family?
No. Oh, I've got some shades. I don't think you're talking about the same thing.
Wouldn't that be wild? Like a
that'd be-
crazy reveal that you're
Yeah.
related to somebody on the podcast, and you didn't know it till we were like live.
Right.
You think that would be awkward?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if I dated him.
I was.
The person on the podcast or their family?
Either, really.
Either way, it's
Sorry, Kyle.
messy business. We're gonna edit now. But I went to this family reunion, and I'd been practicing. My grandpa knew I'd been practicing because I was staying with him for a month. But all these relatives I didn't know, and they're all they can all play. I'm like, oh man, okay, these guys are good. And
But you didn't know that beforehand?
I didn't know these people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the Kentucky branch of my family that I never really saw, And so they're all playing. I'm like, these guys are good, And they were playing for hours, and this party started to wind down. My grandpa's like, get up there. He's like, you can play 3 chords. Go. I'm like, whoa, no way, terrified.
How old are you at this point?
15.
Okay.
Yeah, 14, 15, and whatever cousin of kin this was said, oh yeah, it's G C D, you got it. But I was learning like a fancy C that had like an extra G in the bass, so it was really hard to swing. But I did it, and I was like, oh my god, all right, great, we're gonna do this now. All right, I can play in front of people. I can get it together. All right, so you just keep working, keep practicing and stuff. And again, in Miamisburg, there weren't a lot of people who were into music. Miamisburg's then especially was right at the peak where sort of country music was coming up. I remember the days going to school and all of a sudden all the football team guys are wearing the Garth Brooks shirts.
Right.
And it was like, what just happened? Because it just seemed like a normal place up until that point. And then Miamisburg went full country. I'm like,
what happened to Wham?
Yeah.
Wham did not fit in. I mean, I grew up in Tip City, but it didn't fit in there either.
No. I mean, I was good enough with the hair metal, but it was a very abrupt change, and I'm like, well, that's not for me,
Did you go to Balloons, or what later became the Zoo?
I never did go there, but
Didn't
I know.
you?
No.
What is Balloons?
It was like a teen dance club. Yeah. I mean, there was Balloons and there was Odyssey. That was the
I
one.
remember
that
the
was
Odyssey. I never went there, but I remember the Odyssey.
Yeah,
So-
I had friends that went there. I didn't. That wasn't.
Balloons then became the Zoo. Z93 bought it and ran it.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
yeah. By that time, we were at 1470s.
Rest in peace.
So when you played live with your family, that first time, that's where it kind of sparked.
Well, that's when I realized I could actually do this.
Okay.
Like as opposed to just having, the dream of I would love to play music one day. I'm like, okay, if I work really hard, if I put in the time, you can find some people and do this. And I started asking around at school, like, does anybody play? And I mean, there was one kid who kind of played drums who had no interest in playing in a band. And then there were the metal dudes. I'm like, I can't hang with those guys. Like I knew I wasn't good enough to do the metal. And there was one kid in my neighborhood who, like, he showed me remember Black Crowes sings something about angels. What's that one?
Oh, she talks to angels.
Talks to angels. That song. He showed me the chords to that. I'm like, okay, great. And I couldn't get anybody going, for years, and but I kept practicing, kept trying to learn chords and starting to kind of dabble around with writing songs. But I was writing a lot of lyrics, and all my early lyrics were rewriting Beatles songs.
Oh,
Right? I mean, I still have all of them. I can tell you what song all of these are. I'm like, oh yeah, this was this, and this is Baby, I'm a Rich Man. Yeah, it's terrible. But you just start writing.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And, your first 200 songs are terrible, but get them out.
Right.
And then, halfway through my junior year, I asked a friend of mine, this woman, Jenny Gebhardt, she knew a kid who played drums. My brother knew these 2 kids at his junior high school who were playing guitar and drums together. And I'm like, who are these kids? And he said, oh, it's, Adam Wheeler and Brady Arnold. I'm like, well, I figured out that this woman, Jenny Gebhardt, knew them. I'm like, can you get me in contact with them? She's like, I can't just give you their number. I was like, okay. So it was like weeks of deliberating to get me this kid's number. And finally they're like, yeah, sure. They were doing like Zeppelin tunes.
Okay.
And this is right around the time the Crop Circle box set came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was obsessed with it. A buddy of mine had it, and I borrowed all the tapes and just, I always was like a big absorber of bands whole, give me all the Beatles, give me all the Stones.
Yeah.
And then I was in my Zeppelin phase. And it's great, And so we met down at the choir room at Miamisburg High School there and showed up. And, I was 16. They were like 14, I think, 14, 15. You know, and they just started playing like, all right, can you play Communication Breakdown? No, but show me what to do. Can you play the outro to Genesis Fountain of Salmacis? No, show me what to do. And it was stuff I could do. You know, I'm like, okay, I know D, go up 2 chords. Great, I can do that. And I'm like, great. Yeah, this is fantastic. I found guys who want to play music. And, you know, so we started getting together, and really quickly it became obvious we were all equally interested in writing our own music. Because everybody I knew up to that point was like, well, you can't just write your own music. It's crazy.
I mean, I think it is probably a pretty common thing for people to ease into the whole deal by playing covers.
Sure.
Oh,
and that's what everybody told me you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, that's nice.
Yes.
I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, you know, and I didn't have any, I had one idea of half a song.
Sure.
But I was like, I'm a songwriter. We're going to do our own music.
Yeah.
Luckily, the other kid, Brady, had, you know, a book of songs that were good.
Oh, really?
Originals.
Yeah, originals.
Oh, wow.
A couple of them. I mean, he was really big into like The Cure, The Outfield,
Yeah.
early Genesis with Peter Gabriel. So I mean, we were into, but our drummer was like into Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath,
Okay.
and I was obsessed with Beatles and Led Zeppelin. So somehow,
Very interesting
and
mix.
then a few weeks later, the one guy brought his cousin in, and he was going to play bass, and he showed up in like dress shirt and loafers. I'm like, who's this guy?
Geez.
But pretty quickly, he became pretty cool and all that. And
All bass players are a little weird.
to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a given. And so that band became Stonehenge. Which
Stonehenge.
yeah. Which at the time we all agreed it was a brilliant band name, and if there had not been a film called Spinal Tap, I think it would still be a good band name. But you know, I didn't see that movie for 5 years until after I was out of that band. I'm like, oh my God, you can't have a band called that. Whoops, too late. So yeah, I mean, we just started writing and recording our own stuff, you know, around the basement. Somehow we inherited 2 Akai reel-to-reel tape machines.
wow.
Nice.
And the kid Brady was an electrical wizard, so he'd line them all up, and we're doing 4 tracks, and great.
Jeez.
Okay, this is fun, you know. And we wrote a lot of songs in like 6 months.
Wow.
I mean, so we started playing together in like February, March. By August, we had like 30-some songs.
Jeez.
You know,
Wow.
that's and that's
Prolific.
yeah. But we were kids, and none of us drove. So
Right.
all we would do is go to Adam's house, our drummer's house, and hang out for a weekend, 10 days, whatever, in the summer. And just write and record and practice. And I mean, those guys were all, and they've shown over the years, they were all very, very good musicians. Like, I was way out of my depth, quite frankly. The only reason I could really be there was that I wrote half the songs.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, you know, got me in the game. And so by that fall, you know, I told a few people at high school, oh, I've got this band. And they're like, all right, well, come check it out. You know, they just came over to the basement one day.
Oh, geez.
You know, like, 10, 20 guys, you know, were out hanging out and like, yeah, you guys are good. You should come play at my party. All right. So we played a party, and, you know, it was.
Was that the first time you played out other than with your family?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So these are like early. So we did like somebody's basement party. It was like the Miamisburg soccer team party. You know, it was like 20 or 30 dudes and
Dude, that's
their
awesome.
sisters or whatever. But we had like lights, like lighting stuff, and we were able to figure out how to use the reel machines to do vocal tape delay and all this stuff.
Wow.
And so we'd be like, hold on, we got to rewind the tape. But it sounded great, you know. And you know, we were doing mostly originals, and then some Zeppelin covers. Like we were doing like Dazed and Confused with the bow solo and tape delay. And there's recordings of this stuff, which is hilarious. And so, I mean, but we're kids, so like, where do you play? You don't play. There's nowhere to play. So we had, we were like, okay, it's Adam's birthday on November 1st, so we'll sell tickets, we'll make up tickets and sell them for $1, and have like we got his mom's okay, like you can have kids over, and it was like you can only have 30 kids, which for this is like a 30s 40s house. The basement wasn't. I mean, it's a old house basement,
Yeah.
And this is right when Nirvana is blown up, so everybody wants to mosh, and we've got a strobe light and all this stuff. It's so out of control. But, there's recording of it, and, like, these girls are screaming for us. We're like, this is all right. Let's continue to do this. This is a lot of
That
fun.
was the day a rock star was born.
Yeah, man.
So in school, were you pretty popular?
No.
After that?
No.
No, the girls
Wow.
are screaming.
No.
Stonehenge.
There was, I mentioned there were 30 people.
3 were
Hey,
girls.
30 people.
In a school of 900. But we had a lot of fun, and that was the main thing. And somehow one of the guys' moms worked at Royal Z Bowling Alley, which I think there's a Walgreens there now. In Miamisburg, there on the main drag.
Oh yeah. I didn't know there was a bowling.
Yeah, there used to be a bowling alley called Royal Z Lanes, and that was our first public gig.
Okay.
And we were playing for 2 hours.
Wow.
Dude.
Mostly original stuff, and they had a PA, but we just had teeny tiny little crate amplifiers running into the PA like line out.
Yeah.
And I found a studio, which was really just somebody's house.
We've all recorded this.
Yeah. But he had 8-track and all that, and so we went out and recorded. I thought, because I had read books about the Rolling Stones, you can record 4 songs in 3 hours. Great. Well, that was 40 years before.
Yeah.
Everything works very differently.
Yeah.
So, but we did go in and do 4 songs in one day. These are all songs that we knew real well, and so we got them down. And I had the brilliant idea to pre-sell the tapes.
Oh, really?
To help pay to cover the cost, and covered most of it, not all of it initially.
That's smart.
And so pre-sell those, pre-sell the cassettes, and so it was like 4 songs, and we just high sped dub them because onto like low bias tapes because we don't know anything, And then when we went back and recorded 5 or 6 more and said, "Hey, give us your tapes back. We got to put the other songs on there." And everybody did. Again, we're talking like. 30, 40, 50
Hilarious.
people, whatever, but yeah, sure. And people dug it. And so I did that for a year or 2. And then they kicked me out like the next summer.
Oh, no.
Creative differences.
So when you're like 18 or 17?
18. Yeah.
18.
Yeah. So I was 18.
It's
and
hard to keep the band together.
It is.
Yeah. And I graduated high school. And then I started it. Do you remember International College of Broadcasting? Was that still in Dayton?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the
building's
building's
still
there,
there.
right there
Yeah,
on Smithville
on
and
the
Airway.
Smith- yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I went there. I started there like 6 weeks after I graduated high
Oh,
school.
wow.
Because it kept my family off my back because I had no interest in going to college at that point.
Yeah.
Which that's not happening. But audio school, they're like, yeah, sure, great, go do it. And so much of that technology did not transfer to the rest of my life. Like there was like things like the Roland DM80 digital recorder, which I think was obsolete within 5 years.
Yeah.
But I did get to work on like 16-track reel-to-reel,
Oh, cool.
the nice Tascam mixing board, and then went to a Mackie board. But I did meet Nick Mitchell. You guys know him?
Oh, I know Nick. He played on.
He did a few of the Bob Pollard solo
the
records.
Rickett Wiki stuff,
Yeah,
I
he did all
believe.
those. Yep.
Man, we're just showing off the Pollard chops here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know players on Rickett Wiki records,
You're in the,
Wow.
yeah, you know your stuff.
a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, but I met him. He was the teacher for the second half of that course, which was a lot of fun.
Huh.
And so I'm, like it was a good experience. And then, I didn't really have a band for a couple years there. Just didn't, was still playing and trying to write and all this stuff, but didn't, I was just unmotivated. I was 19. It didn't.
Yeah. What year did you graduate high school?
93.
93. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went there to become an engineer.
I went
Like
there
a
to
studio
learn
engineer.
stuff. I also went there to buy myself time from my family.
Smart.
But I mean,
I should have done that.
Yeah, it was a really good experience. I'm glad I did it. And then so fast forward to when like fall of '94, and by this point I'm kind of really into the Grateful Dead. Like I kind of
Man.
So I turned became a big Deadhead and all that stuff. And so I met this other band of guys called Critical Mass, and they were all older than me, and started playing with them. And we were doing. We were playing places like 4 hours a night, 2 nights a weekend, just
Wow.
because we
Wow.
could. There was a place in Middletown that one of the guys got us into, and they're like, "Yeah, you can play Friday and Saturday from whatever 10 to 2." And then, give us free drinks and nobody's there and it's wonderful. Great. You learn to
Dude,
play.
you're working out your chops in real
exactly.
time.
Yeah. And, so so I was with them for 18 months or so, 2 years, into 96. Jason Short, who just played on the Rip Van Winkle album, was in that group.
Oh, okay. Another Pollard side
Pollard.
project.
Yeah. I know some of these people.
Yeah.
So after that, what happened after that? Oh, then I just kind of started trying to figure out what I was going to do.
With your life?
Well, no, always. By this point, I'd gotten back into college.
Okay.
So I started at Sinclair and did Sinclair and then went to UD later. But like, I kind of got burnt out on trying to play jam band stuff because I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I started getting into like Pixies and REM and kind of going back to what I was into before in the early 90s. All right, great. So then I started Montgomery Green in like 97, which was just supposed to be me doing like a solo thing. And I thought I was just going to call it Kyle and the Meltones because somebody had thrown that out. I'm like, yeah, that's a stupid band name. That'll be great. And I'm like, couldn't bring myself to put that on a record.
Listen to the Joe Andrell episode, and you'll hear some stupid band names.
Yeah,
It's true. It's
they're
true.
out there.
I
man.
remember Montgomery Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
That band went on into like 2004 or 5.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I think you guys invited us to the first Dayton Music Fest, but we'd already disbanded.
Oh, okay.
So we had to respectfully decline.
So that was that would have been right in that time when you guys started the
Yeah.
ramp up for
Yeah.
planning that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Montgomery Green went on into like 2004, 2005. And like Jason Short was always the drummer once we started playing live. And what did we do? Like five albums and an EP.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
In that time.
Were you putting them out yourself?
Oh, yeah. do you remember the Memorax had like a label stampers? Do you guys remember these?
No.
Oh.
So it was like a CD face, and you print the stickers, and then you peel them off, put them face down,
Put them right on the
disc.
Wow.
Which was great at the moment, but I think over time
They
they peeled off. And I think somebody might have told me that bought one and said, "Yeah, man, that came off of my CD player. I had to
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, dude. Yeah. So,
Good idea, maybe not great execution.
yeah. So I mean, we were just home burning CDs and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff and selling them cheap. But we were playing a lot, getting our I was certainly getting my chops together. And
Yeah.
again, I've been pretty fortunate over the years to play with people who are above my pay grade.
That's the way you do it, man.
And so that helped me a lot to kind of, but I mean, I think in that group there, I had very disparate ideas of like, I like jangly pop like REM and Big Star and all that, but punk is cool. Like how do you do Wire at the same time and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So I think that kind of morphed into what Smug Brothers has become.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And so that's been the last 20 years.
I was just going to ask how long.
It's
That's-
been 20 years.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you sing in Montgomery Green?
Yeah.
And did you write most of the stuff, or was it you wrote
Almost all of it, yeah.
Really?
I think Jason wrote 2 or 3 songs for that group. Yeah.
Okay. So how did Smug Brothers come out of that? After
Smug
Montgomery
Brothers.
Green?
Well, it dovetails actually. So you guys know Daryl Robbins of
Yeah.
Motel Bez?
I did Daryl and Becca's wedding.
That's right, you did. I was
Yeah.
there.
Oh, how about that? You're
Yeah.
the first person I've talked to outside of them. We saw Becca at
It's the
Kim Deal?
Kim Deal.
Was it
Not
Kim
the-
Deal?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Becca, yeah.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
I was the one who said who signed the document to make it official.
Yeah,
That's
it was,
wild.
it was a very beautiful day.
Wow,
Yeah,
you
it
have
was.
power.
Yeah.
A little windy, as
Yeah.
I remember.
I don't remember the win, but I'll take your
Right
word
by
for
the
it.
cornfield.
Yeah, it was right by cornfield.
Anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
I
Sidebar.
digress.
There are so many, this is so interesting. This is why, Shawn, we were talking before we got into this. One of the things that's been fun is we've talked to a lot of people who we've known or known about for decades, literally. Shared space, but we don't know all these stories.
Yeah.
We started uncovering these stories and we're like, oh, you got that connection, that connection, that connection. And all of a sudden it's this weird little, again, going back to Dayton, this weird little center of the universe.
Yeah,
That
Dayton is a big small town.
it is. Totally.
Definitely.
100%. Yeah, it's crazy. All
With
right,
all the
so
burps
Daryl.
and-
So Daryl had joined Montgomery Green in second half of 2004, and
Right when you're about to quit.
I think we made it into spring 2005 with him. Something like that. I think that sounds correct. Anyway, he and I were working on, we were getting him up to speed with he's like, yeah, but let's do some other stuff. I bet you like GBV a lot. I'm like, I love GBV. He's like, what if we just did like a lo-fi thing? Let's do a lo-fi thing. So we just kind of started. I threw him some demos because I always have more songs than I need for the record I'm on.
We've heard that.
Yeah.
Don Thrasher said you're a machine.
Yeah. I mean, it's this other side hobby that's going on, And so I just sent him a handful, and he sent me a couple of things that he had built up, like digital, on the computer and all that. And I threw lyrics on those. And so that we just started kind of doing that as a sidebar, Smug Brothers. It was supposed to just be, let's get to know each other musically. And it was never supposed to be anything.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it was just something to do to get to know each other musically. And it was a lot of fun. It was like, this happens really fast. This is great. This is the pace we like to work at. And so we did that, but then we did it all. We recorded and tracked everything pretty fast, but then it took a year to get it just right before we shared it with anybody. And so that would have come out like fall of 2005, by which point Montgomery Green was done.
okay.
So there's a little bit of overlap, dovetailing there.
I see.
And then we did that. Sorry.
It's all right.
We put that out. Buzz Mounter was the only one we did that way. It was just
Buzz. Oh, okay.
Buzz was the first Smug Brothers record.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and then there was nothing to, we weren't going to play any shows or anything like that. So by that point, I had started another new band that became Area Code. Okay. And that had Adam from Stonehenge in it, and Mark, who had been in Montgomery Green, in it. And then Nathan Calvacota, you remember him? Mm-mm. He was in the band Wet Leather with Jay Madewell and Bruce. He had some
Leather. I do like that name.
Yeah, that's a good cut.
Yeah, I think they were like 2003, 2004, something like that.
Wow.
He had a bunch of other stuff, but him and Daryl were buddies, and I think Daryl's like, here, you should drum with Kyle. And so we started doing Area Code, and we did a little EP that never really came out called Rebel Salvation that Nathan played on, then was gone by the time it came out, because that's how things go. And so I did Area Code as a band for 2006 and 2007. And then at the end of 2007, we played right after Dayton Music Fest. That's right. It was the weekend after Dayton Music Fest. And I had slept on somebody's floor the night before and woke up and had no voice.
Oh, geez.
So so I had to go do a show, and I had no voice, and then none of my pedals would work right, and then the keyboardist's keyboard got stolen out of the side of the Night Owl. So I guess the band's over. So that was the end of Area Code. And then by that point I was writing with Dayton City Paper.
Okay.
And I had kind of realized there was a lot more to talk about than you really had the ability to talk about in City Paper, because you get one spot a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All this stuff to talk about. And so I'd started doing the Buddha Den blog a little bit before that.
I forgot about that.
I did too.
Yeah, man. Never forget. So I started doing that in like August of 2007. I had been talking to a lot of people, people who were my age but were more in the scene in the 90s than I was. Because in the 90s, I was in Miamisburg, completely detached from what was going on.
Didn't have your driver's license?
Didn't have my driver's license.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to Canal Street for all the shows and all stuff. Yeah. So I was very detached from it. And then in the mid 90s, I was doing jam band stuff. So again, not really in what Dayton is known for. Like, I was not at the Alien Lanes release show at Canal Street. Yeah. I did not see them at Jilly's. So to me, it was this weird disconnect of being there for it, but not there for it. Right. And so I kind of had this idea of, well, what if there was a real story told about what happened in Dayton 90s music scene from somebody who wasn't involved? And so that was the idea of the Shocker and Gloomtown series that I did. And that was like in 4 parts and stuff. And it ran from like, I think I started in the late 80s and then ran up into like the early 2000s maybe. And it was pretty well received and all that. But in the middle of putting that together, I asked to talk to Don Thrasher. Because, he'd interviewed me for various things, and it's Don Thrasher. Who else are you going to talk to? He knows stuff.
Sure does. Knows stuff, knows people.
Stuff.
Yeah, he was, very much at the epicenter of all that. So we just got together, and I was interviewing him for that series, and he just kind of was like, if you ever wanted to, like, get together and do some recording or whatever. I'd love to do that. And I was blown away, like, yo, sure, you know.
It's the awkward, hey, do you want to be musical friends?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I mean, quite frankly, I'd never had anybody say to me that I'd love to be in your group, you know, so that was really nice.
I haven't either. So I get it.
Yeah. That never happens.
It's never happened to me.
So then he just came over and I moved my couch in my living room and we just started tracking on the 4-track, and here you go, 20 years later.
Wow. That's crazy.
Just the two of you really in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were recording and then giving it to Daryl, and Daryl was putting all the good stuff on it. You know, Daryl was still involved very much on that record. That's what became Fortune Rumors, which technically we finished in 2008, kind of put out in pieces in 2009. We did like a digital release EP series, and then put out on Bandcamp in 2010 or 11.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's still never been physically released.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, to this day. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Time for the box set.
Yeah.
So how
Digital
did you
or
come
other.
up with the name Smug Brothers?
That was Daryl. That was all Daryl.
Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, I had names like Lion Bait and X-Ray Acres.
They used to call Dan Lion Bait back in high school.
I'm not even touching that.
Because he was meaty? Or?
He was meaty.
Hey,
Hey.
He looked delicious.
you look delicious.
What's that,
That's
a
why.
great aunt?
Oh, man.
No.
All right.
You know what
yeah.
I think would, total sidebar from this? Someone should do a graphic novel set in the music scene of Dayton in the 90s. Wouldn't
Wow.
that be?
That
That's
sounds like a
interesting.
project that Don would be all
Oh
about.
man, I think that would be so cool. And all these band factions,
Oh, yeah.
almost like who was it? Face of the World, the movie.
Oh, yeah, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim, almost like that. I think that'd
That's a
be
cool idea.
yeah.
I call it Shocker in Gloomtown.
There
you
you
go.
go.
See, the
let's
story,
let's
it
do
writes
this.
itself. It writes itself.
Did you,
well, the
were you
content's all
guys,
there.
when you guys got together recording Smug Brothers early on with Don, were you playing a lot live? Or was it mainly
No.
recording?
We were strictly recording at that point. We didn't. The whole first the album that we did with Don, we didn't play a single show. We didn't. Our first show was the one you guys did in Bellbrook. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one-off festival
all.
on a
That's-
flatbed truck in the middle of the
my
night. Yeah,
gosh.
In the-
Well, anyway.
I was not a part of
Yeah.
that.
I loved it. It's one of my great memories of performing live.
We had Joe Andrew on recently, and he said he remembered everything from that day. I was like, I don't remember anything from that.
You probably blacked it out.
I think I did.
Was that from the first one?
Second?
The second one, I didn't even remember we did it.
Oh yeah.
It was such a
Oh, I don't remember
bad
you guys doing a
experience.
second one.
We did technically that was the second
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one was in Xenia.
Yeah, let's just move
Let's
on.
not go there.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that on air at all. And-
So we did that show,
okay.
and that was our first show. And
Really?
then
Like what year?
yeah, and then
09 probably.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, August.
That was the
July.
first show.
That was the first Smug Brothers show. And
How
then
in the world
and
did
then
we book that?
I don't know.
You asked
booked
us.
it.
We're like, "There's a good excuse." Well, and for
Good
us,
excuse to play live.
yeah. Well, and for us, it was handy because we had already been booked to go to Denver to play the underground music seminar. Because do you remember John Wenzel, who had the Sponic blog in the '90s?
I remember
Or
the
it was
name.
it was Zine. Sorry, Sponic Zine.
Okay.
Still paper.
Zine. Zines were a product of the time.
Yeah,
for
he,
sure.
he's Don's bud, and he had liked what we'd been putting up online. He said, "You guys should come
Yeah.
out and do this festival." We're like, "We've never played a show." He's like, "That's fine, we got you." So I mean, so it was handy for us to like, okay, well, let's do a test drive here in Bellbrook,
So wild, man.
and then
It's kind of like Denver.
yeah, it's basically like Denver.
Minus the mountains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beauty.
the breweries.
An actual music scene.
Yeah. So we did that 2 weeks later and just hopped in a rented car and
That's so crazy.
drove straight to Denver.
Wow.
Through the night. Got there. We left on a Thursday night, got there on a Friday afternoon, hung out Friday night, played first thing Saturday at like 1 in the afternoon in a parking lot of a Goodwill.
Are you
Not
do you
dissimilar
remember
to playing
where
in
I lived?
Bellbrook.
Yeah, I was gonna say. At least you were on
It was
a
right on
flatbed
the
in
main drag, like
Bellbrook.
on Colfax or something
Yeah,
like that.
Colfax.
Yeah, it was in the parking lot of a Goodwill.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, they had a nice stage setup. It was like a big truck and all. I mean, it's the nicest, still probably the nicest stage I've ever played on. Like, you know, it was like a truck and the stage came off of it and canopy and all that. And, you know, but they backline drums and amps for us. So we didn't have to carry all that. We just had to take guitars is really all we
second show out of the gate and you're like, yep, we're royalty here.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you come back to Ohio and grind it out for 20 years. See how it works for you.
You know, why do you think we're doing a podcast?
Yeah.
We got to hear these stories. We got to be reminded of things we were involved in
Exactly.
and with.
Yeah, right.
What's crazy, when I first heard Smug Brothers back, you know, probably 2007 or so, I'm like, who is this band? And I thought it was like, it was kind of mysterious.
Oh, yeah.
Because you guys never played.
Right.
And it was like, oh, it's an all-star band, right? That's
Exactly.
what originally I was thinking, like, what? You know, it was just really odd. And then now 20 years later, or almost 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You're still together and
Yeah.
playing and putting out records.
Yeah. Probably more so than ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are playing quite a bit now.
Yeah,
too, aren't you?
we've had a good few years here since the pandemic. Obviously, that shut us down like everybody.
Yeah.
But we were somehow we were able to keep it together through that. Because I mean, I think a lot of bands just caved.
A lot of
Understandably
stuff
so.
in general.
Yeah, just caved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a good year in 2020. Funny enough, we did. So we had been finishing an album at the end of 19 to do the next year because there's always another album.
Sure.
And Don, so we had most of the basic tracks done, but then our guitarist at the time, Scott Tribble, and then Kyle Sowash, who's still with us, figured out they could record at home. So like, great, let's finish it up. And we did them as 4 song EPs.
Okay.
Just put them out digitally initially, and then we did 7 inches the next year. So we were able to kind of keep going and keep working and all this stuff. And then when we got back to like, okay, we should play live, we got a new guitarist. Now I can't think of his name. Ryan Schaefer. There we go. Ryan Schaefer. Of course, I can't remember people's names. Yeah, Ryan Schaefer came on in spring of 22. Is that right? Spring of 22. And so he's still with us, and he's great. So we got
The 4 of you at
the
this
4
point.
of us. So it's me, Don, Kyle Sowash, and then Ryan Schaefer. We're lucky enough where we can do the shows like we want to do because we're all old,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
we're not 22 anymore,
I know.
and we got kids and families and all that, and it's a little more challenging to schedule and all that stuff. I mean, when Kyle joined the group, he's like, well, I was asking him if he knew a bass player because we didn't have a bass player. Larry had left, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, well, wait. How often you guys practice? I'm like, once a month. He's like, I can do that. I'm in. 'Cause he'd been a fan anyway, so he always booked us in Columbus when we played. So he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So it's great to have him on board. But yeah, I mean, and he's good at booking. So he knows people around. He's toured with his band over the years and stuff, and he does booking in Columbus. So he's got a lot of good contacts, which have helped us get out and about a lot more.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we're playing as much as we can.
That's awesome.
Which is still more than we've ever played, so we'll take it.
When we interviewed Don, he had a show that night. You guys had a show that night. I don't remember.
Well, and
where
you
it
just
was.
came back. They just come back.
Oh wow!
Came back from Pittsburgh, I think, and some other dates.
New York, maybe?
Yeah.
You guys
Oh
were in
yeah.
New
Last
York?
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably the most serious run we've done. That was the first time we've ever done 3 days out.
Wow.
So that was fun. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's like, oh, you got to think about this.
You
Oh,
did.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
little more logistics involved if you're out and about on the road.
Yes. Yeah. It was a blast. We had a good time.
So we skipped a bunch here. We went from basically like the beginning to current, but a lot of music has been made in between there.
For Smug Brothers.
Yes,
Yes.
for Smug Brothers.
Yeah.
Because we went from like 09, 2010 to pandemic to now. Give us just some sort of like background in the middle there.
Yeah. So so the band who went to Denver, so Daryl wasn't going to play live with us. By that point, he was already kind of playing, I think, with Motel Beds. So
Okay.
he's like, I'm going this way with it. It's fine, So we got Brian Baker, who from at the time he was doing Grizzly Bear, and then he did Astro Thing, and then Brat Curse, and
a bunch of bands. And
I've lost track how many bands he's in this week.
Yeah.
Right now, he's currently in Europe with his band Dana.
Okay.
So he's
Wow.
out there doing it.
Wow.
But he at the time, I had just interviewed him for whatever record he'd put out, and he said he was interested in getting in a group that would travel. I'm like, let's ask. Let's ask the
Right,
kid.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think he was barely 21. I don't
Wow.
know. So he got in, and so it was me and Brian and Don, and then Mark Betts, who had been in Montgomery Green with me.
Okay.
And so we did that for a couple years. And Mark, by that point, he and I had been playing together for 10 years, and he was kind of tired of me. Fair enough. So he kind of didn't really want to play a lot. So we had 2 or 3 years there. We barely played.
Yeah.
Don and I were still recording, and we were working with Daryl and Mark and Brian would do overdubs and stuff, but we couldn't go out. We didn't want to play that much. And then we got Shane Sullivan in. Do you remember him?
I don't.
He ran South Park Tavern there for years.
Huh.
So I booked there at South Park Tavern
Okay.
for a few years.
I remember that.
Yeah. And so I was, we were hanging out and playing, and Shane said, I can play bass. So I'm like, okay, great. We needed somebody because at that point it had been like 18 months, 2 years without a bass player. We're like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
So he played with us for about a year, and he's on the way to the Punchline record, 4 or 5 songs on that.
Okay.
And he very idiosyncratic style, but perfect for the songs that he's on. Is
Yeah.
great. And then he was busy like dealing with South Park, and then he started buying Canal Street, and so he just was unavailable.
Okay.
So he after a while, he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and bow out, get somebody else. Great. So we got Larry Evans, and you know Larry.
I don't know Larry.
Yeah, Larry's great. He's one of the friendliest people ever. He's great, and he was all about it, and he did the work, and so then it's me and Larry and Brian and Don, and so that group ran from 13 into early 17.
Jeezy Pete's.
Yeah,
How do you keep it all straight?
I don't know, man. I tell myself these stories over and over and over all the time, so I don't forget.
That's partly why one of the things we like doing is, remembering some of these stories and archiving,
Yeah.
A history of. Obviously, we've spent a ton of time in Dayton
Yeah.
and outlining Dayton music history, but so much of what we've done is just remembering those stories and trying to sort of trigger some memories, like for
Yeah.
us. Like,
Oh, yeah.
remembering that we had you in Bellbrook in 2009.
Again, I didn't remember that
Crazy.
that whole thing. So.
Yeah, it's all a blur.
When did you and Don take over the Dayton Music Fest?
Yeah, so you guys gave us that in 2010.
Must have been.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we did
Yeah.
it for
Yeah,
5
yeah.
years.
6, 7,
you
8,
did
9.
5, and then
Yep.
we did 5, and
Yep.
so right.
Yeah.
That's a good run.
It is.
Oh,
5
yeah, I
years
think so.
enough.
Yeah.
Is enough.
Well, and I think that's enough of one set of people's opinions about what Dayton music
Oh, yeah.
should be. You know,
Very
Sure.
much so. What were the highlights and what were the lowlights from when you guys did the Dayton Music
Ooh.
Fest?
I mean, there were a lot of really good bands. I mean, the first year was really good. It was just a buzz to get like, oh my God, we're doing this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I remember 2011 being particularly good. Astrofing at Bob's closing out the night was fantastic, which was really good. One of the low things that I remember, Connections. You guys know those guys from Columbus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
they
we
were
had-
in. Those are the guys that were in '84 Nash
Yes.
before that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had them, and Don and I had the brilliant idea of like, okay, well, we'll have motel beds over at Bob's, and then we'll have them at Canal, and everyone will go see. We had this time staggered a little bit, maybe,
Sure.
but
Yep.
kind of still overlapping. And we didn't know nobody's going to go over to Canal Street because the one year you guys had Enon, everybody was there.
Right. Yeah.
The whole world was at the Enon
The
show.
whole
You
Dayton
couldn't even get
music
everybody in the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hot, sweaty, wonderful,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
And so we're like, great, we'll just have connections. I mean, it was me and Don and 10 other people.
Really?
And yeah, they were not happy about that, and understandably so.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible for them. I'm like,
sure, yeah, you-
like these guys rule. I can't
Right.
believe nobody's here,
Yep.
you know. So, but that's one of those live and learn thing. Like, okay, let's not do that again. But overall, it was just nice to get to know so many bands that we didn't know.
Yeah.
It was, it was always the struggle of, putting the schedule together and who do you have, who do you not have,
What clubs are in?
Yeah.
What clubs are not?
well,
what's closed?
yeah.
What's
Well, in
because-
the last year we didn't include Canal Street, which at the time, I mean, because they were kind of in, kind of out. They were
in the beginning, as I remember.
The first year they didn't want to be in it.
Yeah.
Then Mick was like, "Why weren't we part of this?"
Right.
Because you didn't want to be part of it.
Right. So they weren't happy about that, but I mean, you just have to decide, and we tried, like one year, I think we did like an early bit at South Park Tavern, like, okay, let's do this at like whatever it was, 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then and it was okay, but I think we tried a lot of stuff. And like one year we did Friday night in the Garden Station, on Wayne. We did that. And I mean, unfortunately, the weather was not cooperative.
You're right.
It was cold because I think we moved it up from because you guys did it end of October, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think we did it the weekend before Halloween because they always had their big.
Yeah. Because you guys tended to have it the week after midpoint, is what I remember.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I thought was a good idea.
Yeah.
But we moved it up a month earlier for whatever reason.
Which I think it's kind of stuck in that time frame.
Yeah, I think
Like
it has kind of
early
stayed more in
October, late September.
September.
Yeah.
Or no, this year was early September, right?
Yeah, early
was.
September.
Yeah.
I think
Weather's better.
I think one year we did it early September, and it was okay, but it was, you just never know.
No.
You know how Dayton is.
It's a shooting.
So, and that's okay, but you try and I think that's the thing is like for us is like we tried a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
I mean, the
And then we
amazing,
handed it off.
yeah, and the amazing thing is, all of us sitting around the table were a part of that at one point, planning, and executing it, and it's still going.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
cool
crazy.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I've been impressed with people keeping it up and kind of keep going with it, and it's certainly. I saw the lineups for this year, and I don't live in Dayton anymore, so I don't know I'm not on the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like all new people to me.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's exciting. You're like,
Yes.
good. After 20 years, it should be
Yes.
some different
Oh,
people.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good to see. I was very happy I didn't realize until kind of toward the end of the fact that it was Brandon Hawk and Paige Beller
Yes.
running it this year. I was
Yep.
like, good.
Yeah.
If anybody should be picking up the mantle and running,
Yep.
it's those two because they've been around for ages.
Yep.
I've worked with both of them a ton over the years. Great people, and I think they definitely produced a wider ranged
Oh yeah.
event than
Yeah.
Music Fest has ever been. Which I
Very,
was like,
very intentionally, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
They were very
yeah.
intentional about that.
We had
Plus, they have the pulse. I mean, they're
Yes.
booking
Yeah.
for 2 of the venues.
Yes.
Right,
And
yeah.
they
They're
know
down
what's
in- they're
going
in it.
on in the scene.
we were able to interview those guys for that, which was really cool. Which I hadn't met either of them before the interview.
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're great people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they seemed
Super
to be.
nice. Yep.
So, how do you keep Smug Brothers together this long? What's the key?
Keep writing new songs. No, like I've been in so many bands that you can't keep together, and I've been in bands that you can't believe don't stay together. I think it's Don and I are kind of the core, like,
Yeah.
my gratitude for Don to just be a dreamer with me in this thing is, I can't thank him enough. Because if it was just me, I mean, I'm sure I'd, who knows, I would just do something else. But it's us, working together and like trying to figure out who else wants in on it. And right now, we have 4 guys who are like, yeah, what's the new thing? You guys are tracking again? Great, can't wait to hear the new stuff. Like, oh yeah, we should be playing this song. Why aren't we playing? Guys who are vested in it. And I mean, we talk all the time, like the fact that we're the age. I mean, I just turned 50 this year, and at our age, most people who play are already doing the cover band thing if they're doing anything.
Right.
I mean, they've long since abandoned any hope of breaking through.
Writing
we have-
original new songs.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. There's certainly a place for live music, like live cover music, within a given area.
No,
for sure.
It has to happen.
And
Yes.
if you want to
But
make
that's-
money, that's
yeah.
right.
And if you want to make money, that's
Yeah.
where you're heading.
Well, and if you want to work with any regularity, because
Yes.
most of the guys I came
Yes,
up with,
that's right.
they've all made real good money over the years playing. Like the 2 guys that were in Stonehenge with me, they toured with Eric Girardi for years.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, those guys have done quite well for themselves,
Yeah.
and they play regularly.
Yes.
That's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
I wouldn't know anything about that. So, you know, like, I don't know what else to do with myself other than write new songs. Like, you know, I probably don't write as often as I used to, which, okay, good. I've written a fair amount, but, you know, there's always, you get the itch. You're like, I got to write this week. You know, like, okay, well, here's 5 new songs. Great. We got to record these. And the fact I have guys who are up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a gift.
It's awesome.
At this point, you know, and, you know, sure, we would love more people to hear what we're doing, you know, but I think we are all, you know, we joke like we pull in 5 new fans a year and they love us. I mean, but they do, you know, and that's just the truth of it. Like we're not kids who are going to we're not going to get on Rolling Stone. We're not going to be on the blogs, you know, like we get, you know, the fact we get anybody talking about us all. Like, I mean, NPR had one of the songs off our new album this year on their Music of the Week.
Oh, wow.
All songs considered when the week the album came out. I mean, that's a huge for us.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
It's huge for anybody, you know,
right,
really.
right, exactly.
So, I mean, if that happened for us this year, I think we're doing just fine.
Yeah.
You know, we play the shows we play, you know, they go how they go. You know, we sell a few records, go on to the next one. You know, like there's still the buzz of the new material, of the new record, of getting, oh my God, you're holding the record. It looks great. Oh my God, look at that art.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
fantastic, man.
Or, I mean, sure, you have like physical stuff in stores, like to be able to see your music in a bin, on a rack, in a store. I'm sure it just never gets old.
No.
Yeah.
No. You know, I mean, that was the whole point.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, we can control how we do the work. You know, like, you know, we've got our process in line. And like, I'm doing all the recording, I'm doing all the mixing. You know, now I'm doing a lot of the artwork. You know,
I was going to ask you that.
Yep, same.
Yeah, like the last few have been collages I've done. So I'm like, okay, well, I think we did a couple where we paid somebody to do artwork. I'm like, we can't afford that anymore. You know, I'm good at budgeting too.
Time to take this in house.
If your band needs an accountant, reach out to Meltonicus Industries.
There you go. We talked to Kyle. You're Kyle. We talked to Don also a little bit about the short videos you guys have put out.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
That's Ryan Schaefer. He's that was a really good thing that he brought into the fold was video production. So they did that trilogy, the Pablo trilogy that we call it. So it was Pablo, Icarus. What were the other two? Now I can't remember. There was Pablo, Icarus. What was the middle one? Oh, Let Me Know When It's Yes. And then Javelina Nowhere.
Yes.
Was the exciting conclusion.
Yeah.
Great song, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. We play that. That's one we play live a lot. And those turned out really well. I mean,
they did.
Yeah.
They're cool.
He did a great job. I mean, we didn't do one for this last album just because timing didn't work out of when we needed it done and when we could do it. So there's, you know, maybe I'm sure we'll do some more at some point, but he did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Him and Don had a lot of fun. And I mean, we've always tried to do videos, and we've had a few. We had the one, Dave Ackles did our first one for the song Interior Magnets in 2009. And he did an amazing job. I met with him one time, had one conversation about what the song's kind of about, and he made a video that somehow was an absolute mirror of my life. I was like, I don't know how you did that, but all that symbolism is me. Beautiful.
Wow.
And then somebody did a video, this guy, John Kiefer, I think he's in Philly, did a video for Me to Changing World off the Woodpecker Paradise EP in 15. I think those are the last, maybe we did another video in there somewhere. Those are the ones I remember.
Yeah.
Those are very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They are. They're really good.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in Dayton playing shows. Any particular memories you have from a show that you played or went to or a room? I mean, just something that stands out.
So many. Like the first time playing Canal Street. I mean, that was a bit. And in those days, there wasn't anywhere else really to play. This is like '94.
Yeah.
I think Oregon Express was maybe starting to do some original music, but that was kind of it. Sub Galley was starting to do some stuff.
I don't know when that started.
What?
Sub Galley?
Sub Galley.
94, 95.
Was it that time?
Yeah. And that was just the front room there.
Yeah.
That turned into, what was the back room called? Aardvark.
Yes.
Yeah. We played there a couple of times.
We never played there, did we?
Well, Elbows was around too.
Not
that was later.
Point.
Oh,
that was later.
Much later.
I think that was 2003. 2003 when they started doing shows.
I'm so off of my time.
It's okay. That's
Calendar
why we
10
do
years
this.
later, Elvis.
That's right.
Yeah.
Calendars aren't for everybody.
When you're
Just like
such a
memories.
free spirit, you don't need a time limit.
Yeah, man, I'm not into time.
Time's fluid, bro.
That's right.
Yeah, like I loved Elbows. I thought that was
I did
I thought that was
too.
a really
That's a-
special room.
That's
I mean,
a recurring theme. Like
Yeah.
everyone who
I
saw
dug
a
it.
show or was there, played. I mean, it's just
It was a great room.
Yeah.
4 or
GCR
5 years,
played there
maybe.
quite a bit.
yeah, if
Yeah.
that. Because I
mean-
think the earliest I remember us playing there was 2003, which is I'm pretty sure that was right when they were starting to do shows regularly. 'Cause
Yeah.
it used to just be like the other half of Chin's restaurant,
Right.
and then they put that wall up,
Yeah.
which is where the band was up against. So that would have been like 2003, and by in the fall of 2006, it was gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
We did the was it the first year?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did-
Swearing.
Elbows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Swearing
Swearing
Motors
played
was
there,
there. They closed the night. I think that's
Yeah.
where everybody
Yeah.
ended up
Right.
that night.
That's what I was talking
They
about.
had that big state of Ohio flag
Yeah.
hanging proudly behind them.
Oh yeah, as Dave does.
As he do. As he do.
He does that. He does that in Hamburg now.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
They're like,
Nice.
what
Great.
is that?
Yeah, they're like, red,
Was
white,
ist
and
das?
blue. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
What are we doing? Yeah, Elbows was a great room.
Yeah, Elbows was great. I mean, but Night Owl had a good moment.
Yeah.
You ever played Jags?
No, but I did see some shows there. Yeah, never played there. I was like, I don't know. man.
It's
Somehow they
different.
liked us, and we played there quite a bit.
Okay, I remember it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, we're playing Elbows. That's enough Dayton shows,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I mean, you know how if you play for a long time, you see some weird stuff. Like one time my drummer got off the drum riser at Night Owl and bumped into a abstract art piece on the wall and carved a gash into his forearm.
Oh,
you know,
geesh.
and I mean that was like the first year I was playing live. I'm like, what is this? Luckily he's okay. But I mean, I remember seeing Let's Crash the night they crashed on stage, and Jeremy Fredericks throwing the monitors off the stage at
Really?
Jilly's. You hang around long enough, you're gonna
Yeah.
see some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, the fact I've played and people come at all. I mean, that's a pretty good feeling.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is.
Oh, man.
Have I had the great show? Probably not,
Yeah.
But I've been part of some fun stuff. Like Holidatons were always really good. We did a couple of those with Smug Brothers, and Mark and Poppy always put on a good party. And that was, all right, that was a good party. Thanks for having us. Music Fest a couple years we got to play like our Dayton debut was a Dayton Music Fest. That's right. So
What year was
we're
that?
gonna loop back. So
Yeah.
we did the Bellbrook thing, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we did Denver
Yep.
2 weeks later as our second show. And then I think we did one Columbus show, and then the show right after that was our Dayton debut was Dayton Music Fest. We
Oh,
played
wow.
Oregon Express.
Wow.
You guys had already taken over by then at that point.
It was a palpable buzz.
Yeah.
The buzz was mounting for sure. Yeah, I mean that was probably one of our best shows in town. Was just like people were excited to see us, because he is Don and Kyle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Right.
exciting. Just a lot of fun, man. A lot of really good venues.
Yeah.
That's what was so cool, I think, about the Dayton Music Fest for me was to just see the amount of people that came out, right?
Mhm.
And they were excited we used to always hear from people saying, I never even heard of that band, and I really dug them. And
Right.
I mean, it was just this theme of like, it was amazing that people came, first of all,
Yeah.
but then they got to
Right.
experience like 4 different bands. Or they go down to another place, and it was like, wow, this is what Dayton has to offer
For $10.
for $10.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
No,
Yeah.
couldn't beat it. And it was. We know every year we've talked about this. Every year we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know
Right.
who was going to show up. But every year,
If anybody was going to show up.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And, but that was just amazing. But Dayton, just like Will said earlier, how connected everything is, whether you realize it or not, and how many people have shared experiences, again, whether you realize it or not. I think it's just such a neat. Dayton was a great place to grow up and play music
Yeah.
during that time, and hopefully it keeps going on. So
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people I've met over the years who are just great people. I mean, as much as anything, I mean, the Dayton music scene is my family. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so many people that you get to know.
Yeah.
And it's fun, you know, and it's, you know, I think all Music Fest was always a good time because it was like that was everybody kind of got to see everybody.
Reunion.
Like, it was as much a family reunion as anything, you know, at least for several years there it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good thing, you know, because I mean we get around. We're not world travelers or anything, but I mean I think Dayton has a pretty cool music scene.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, I will never understand why more people don't take an interest in that fact, but that's how it is.
Well, and the other side of that too is why I don't think everybody's this way. I mean, probably all of us sitting around the table are not. It's almost like you're embarrassed to be from Dayton, and I'm like, I'm the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm proud to be from Dayton. I think Dayton's an amazing town for the size, city, its location, the amount of art and inventiveness and creativity that has come out of this little place.
Yeah.
The different genres of music that come out.
Everything.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think we should be proud to be from there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a special place for sure.
It is.
I think so. I mean, and I guess the other end of that is, if you're from there, you can also be critical of it.
Well, of course,
if you want, because that's your place.
Yeah.
But I'd rather emphasize the positives and
Totally.
like all the good stuff about the town, and being there. Okay, you want to do a little rapid fire?
Sure.
I got a few questions. The only note that I took. Do you still like the Grateful Dead?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie is a big dick.
I'm a
he's a
huge Deadhead. I'm also a huge Guided by Voices fan.
You can be both.
I know. I don't think people believe that.
I know. I know a handful of people who are, and you know,
It's a weird thing because it's like, well, if you're a Deadhead, you're not going to like Guided by Voices. And if you're into GBV, you're definitely not going to listen to the Dead.
I mean, those are also possible answers.
They are.
You know,
They are
I mean,
possible.
and I get it. You know, like, you like what you like, man.
Shawn, shut up, Shawn. Just don't say anything.
I love
So-
GBV.
I know you don't like the Dead.
GBV.
I just say
Well-
with the Dead, people just haven't figured it out yet.
No.
I think that there's something that can be unlocked, and the Dead are for everybody.
Would you say
I'm not against
they will
them.
survive?
They will survive. Yes. Well, most of them haven't. But,
Right.
Well, they were also old.
The best quote about being a Deadhead, and I think this applies to GBV too, because I know plenty of people who want nothing to do with that band.
Absolutely.
GBV or Dead?
GBV.
Too much.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
both of them, I think the catalogs are just.
There are a lot, but they're all
Prohibitive.
the music. I think is also difficult to get there
Both.
with initially, and I think Jerry had the best thing to say. He's like, Grateful Dead fans are like people who like black licorice.
Yes.
Not everybody likes black licorice, but the
But
people who do really
like
love
it. Yes.
That's great.
Here was the.
So what about GBV? What
I
would
think
you
it
say?
applies
same
the same
thing.
way.
Like,
And
Not everybody likes Pabst Blue Ribbon, but
Right,
the people
right.
who
It's
do.
Miller Lite.
Yeah, it's Miller
but
Lite now.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
The Rolling Rock era is over.
Rolling Rock 22, baby.
So the question I was going to ask, the follow up, if you've been with them and a fan of the Dead for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
have you noticed that the opinion on that band has changed?
Absolutely.
I mean, and why?
Everything ages differently, man.
I guess.
What do
You
you
know.
mean? What do you?
I think there are people who are way more open to the Dead than they ever were when they were a band.
I think over
Proper.
time, a lot of I remember it's probably 10, 15 years ago now, but somebody did a really nice comp of covers, and it was all like
it was Day of the Dead.
Yeah. But a bunch of indie people did. You're like, oh, well, if I forget who all was on it, but if so and so was
everybody.
doing that,
Bruce
yeah.
Hornsby,
yeah,
that
it was
was on
chock
there.
full. Yeah,
I think that Owen was in.
Will Oldham was on
Yeah.
there, I think. Yola Tango.
Yeah, and I think it was just a thing of it became a more acceptable answer for a musical preference over time.
Yes.
And I think over time, especially too, there was a cultural detachment from the stereotypical hippie Deadhead,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
as opposed to I'm just a person who works this job who puts out this kind of music, but I also like the Grateful Dead.
Yes.
And I think people kind of like, oh, okay, I don't have to be that person.
Correct.
Who looks
Hippie
like
with flowers in your hair,
Yeah.
spinning
Patchouli.
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all those things too, but I also
Yeah.
You like having flowers?
I do only when
Yeah, man.
we're
Sometimes
recording.
it's just time.
only when we're recording.
Oh boy.
But there is an interesting parallel there because I think the people who go hard in the paint for the Dead, you have a same rabid sort of fan base with Guided by Voices. I mean, just,
Yeah, I forget who it was that wrote it. Somebody wrote years ago that it was like GBV is like the Grateful Dead for people who just like to drink a lot and don't like acid as much. Yeah. Which isn't necessarily an either or scenario,
Right.
but you know.
yeah, and the difference is you're shouting out Ricked Wiki versus like 5877,
Right,
you
right.
know, or some reference point for a show. It's this side project that nobody's ever
Yeah.
heard of outside of those of us who are really into Black
Are
Licorice.
you even into Circus Devils?
yeah, the proggy
Yeah.
Todd Tobias, right?
Oh, yeah,
Led
yeah.
side project. Shawn, Dan, what do you got?
What do you have going on right now?
Yeah, what's coming up?
Well, we are. We got one more show tomorrow, which by the time this airs will have already
You're
happened.
playing oh yes, at Blind Bob's.
At Blind Bob's.
That's right,
So
I saw that.
this is our last show for the year. We decided a couple years ago we don't play in the winter anymore.
Smart.
We're old enough. We're too old for that.
I believe that's called wisdom.
It's
kids.
called wisdom. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're taking off live until like April, I think. But we're finishing up a record now. Of course we are. Tentatively called 303. We'll see
Okay.
what it ends up being called. So I'm finishing that up now. And then we're working. We haven't officially announced it, but we're working with a label out of Boston. We're probably going to have some kind of a retrospective come out in the spring. There'll be like a vinyl version and a CD version.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
very cool.
I think that's going to be called "Gravity Is Just a Way to Fall."
Ooh.
I think so. There'll be different
Is this
art.
breaking news? Are we getting an
This
exclusive?
is a scoop.
Nice.
So we'll see when it comes out.
We'll see when this
Yeah, yeah.
interview comes out.
Yeah, right. But that's what we're working on right now. So finishing up the one record, that'll like a new album will come out probably like late summer, early fall next year,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
we'll get back to playing in the spring.
So the
The last record came out early this year, right?
Yeah, in
2025.
June.
Yeah.
Stuck on beta.
Yeah.
the retrospective, I mean, that's gonna be like a whole like everything.
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, it's kind of the greatest hits of a band that never had a hit. But going all the way, or back at least to the early stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of the ones, I'm just kind of going off things that have been popular, like on our Bandcamp page. Like,
Yeah.
these were
Yeah.
the ones that people dug. So the vinyl obviously is going to be a little bit shorter, and then the CD version will probably be about twice as much stuff. So it'll tell a little bit more of a complete story. But, we'll see how it goes.
How did that come about?
We asked.
Amazing.
Hey, Dan always says that.
I
You got to
know.
ask.
Just gotta ask. Shoot your shot.
What's the worst they can say? No, thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Have you worked with them before? Or?
No, but it's this guy Brian Hamill in Boston. He has a new label called, a newish label called Best Brother Records. He just opened a store. That's pretty new.
Oh, wow.
But he just did the new Hallelujah the Hills,
I don't know.
four disc thing with them, and so he's been a fan for a long time, and he's interviewed us for his blog a bunch of times. And he said, if you guys ever want to work together, I'd love to work with you. So we're getting going on that. So hopefully that'll come out in spring.
Yeah.
That's
very cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Great idea, especially for someone who has
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, we've picked up a lot of new listeners over the last few years with these releases. You're like, okay, well, they don't probably know Fortune
Right.
Rumors. That's good. It's at the very least, it's good songs. It's also part of the story. So,
Sure.
here's a little bit more complete picture for you. And most of that early stuff's out of print, was never in print or has been out of print for
Yeah.
a long time. Like we got an email from a guy who, he big fan, buys most of the stuff that we put out. Thanks, Joe. But he's like, hey, do you have any copies of Stock Romeo laying around? I'm like, from 2010? Let me look. So Don and I went looking like, nah, man, that thing's been sold out. Because we pressed 100 copies.
Yeah. Yeah.
15 years ago now. Gee,
Wow.
what just happened?
That's
I
crazy.
know.
Man,
It's crazy.
Wait, we just put that out.
Time as you get older.
So that's
is
what we're up to.
Wild.
Man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
Lots
And
of
you
good
can
stuff.
find your music anywhere, really, essentially. Spotify, Apple, everywhere like that.
Yes, our Bandcamp
Bandcamp.
page. Our Bandcamp page is probably our favorite place because
Yeah.
that's actually us.
Yeah.
But yeah, wherever you stream us.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell your enemies.
Tell anybody.
That's right.
Guys, do you have anything else for
I
Kyle?
don't think so. Kyle, thank you for
Thanks.
coming in.
Thanks for Kyle.
Thanks for
Thank you
so
taking
glad
the
it-
time and setting us up in this room.
Glad
That's
it worked
great.
out for us to meet up and to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
And
though
to
you're
get to
going to
know
be
ya.
in Dayton
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, get to know you. It's awesome.
Yeah. There's a competing show tomorrow in Dayton. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a Prince tribute show.
We got.
at
Yeah,
the
we
Victoria
can't.
Theater.
I can't do anything about that.
Where's that?
It's at Victoria
What you
Theater.
should do tomorrow.
is Re-
See
re-
some good indie rock.
retroactively. Go
Every
and check out
Saturday
Smug
night in my
Brothers.
basement, there's a show too. But
I thought you shut that down, or the police
the
shut
police
that.
tried to shut it down. You
The
can't
neighbors
stop this.
called and shut it down. Kyle, thank you so
Thank
much
you, Kyle.
for
Thanks,
fellas.
joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes.